The night doesn't fall. It sinks, slowly pressing the world down. Fire still burns, but something in it has already weakened. No one notices the silence, because it arrives without a sound. He sits there, as if he has always been part of the room. No one looks at him, not even by accident.
A body can be present and still not exist to others.
Warmth fades first, before anything else begins to change. The air feels heavier, like it remembers something the living don't. Even the flames hesitate, as if unsure they should continue. Nothing is wrong, and yet nothing feels right anymore.
Morning doesn't come. It only replaces one shade of grey with another.
Time moves forward, but something refuses to follow. People begin their day as if nothing has ended. He stands, but the world does not adjust around him. No eyes meet his. No space is made for him. It is not absence. It is being unrecognized. The ground holds no memory of his weight. Even the earth refuses to confirm his existence. Wind moves around him, never against him.
He moves forward, but the world no longer responds.
There is no path ahead, only the absence of everything behind. Nothing disappears, it simply stops being seen. What remains is not the world he left.
Life continues because it never noticed what was lost.
The space remembers nothing because it was never altered.
The world corrects itself by forgetting what never belonged.
No one speaks his name because no one remembers it. What is gone leaves no silence, only continuity. Nothing marks the absence, because nothing was ever disturbed. The world closes, not by ending, but by continuing without him. The story ends, where no one knows it ever began. The world remains, untouched by what never existed. No shadow lingers, because none was ever cast. The place remains, but no longer holds a story. Nothing ends here, because nothing was ever carried forward. There is no ending, only a world that never changed.
Only the world remains, and it never needed him. No trace, no echo, no memory,
only what was always there.
Silence remains, not as absence, but as completion.
Nothing is missing, because nothing was ever held.
There is no void, only a world that never changed.
The world holds steady because nothing ever broke. The world endures, untouched by what was never there. Nothing fades because nothing was ever present.
The world remains complete because nothing was ever removed.
Nothing was taken because nothing was ever given. Nothing remains except what was always here. What remains is all that ever was. The world stands, unchanged by what never was. The world is whole because nothing was ever lost. The silence holds because nothing ever broke it.
Silence remains, because nothing was ever there to break it. The world persists, untouched by what never existed. Nothing changes, because nothing was ever here to begin with. Nothing echoes, because nothing ever spoke. Nothing ends, because nothing ever began. Nothing holds, because nothing was ever formed. Nothing remains, because nothing was ever shaped. Nothing lingers, because nothing was ever left behind. Nothing survives, because nothing was ever alive. Nothing remembers, because nothing was ever recorded.
Nothing answers, because nothing was ever asked.
Nothing concludes, because nothing ever unfolded. Nothing stands, because nothing was ever built. Nothing endures, because nothing was ever made to last. Nothing resists, because nothing was ever there to oppose. Nothing remains to fade, because nothing ever held form. Nothing collapses, because nothing was ever standing. Nothing exists, because nothing ever did. Nothing remains to be lost, because nothing was ever kept.
Nothing waits, because nothing was ever expected.
Nothing remains to be known, because nothing was ever understood. Nothing remains to be remembered, because nothing ever stayed.
Nothing ever was, and nothing ever will be.